Hey, Mama.
Hey, hey.
A few days ago, we got on the phone, and first thing you asked me was, how was the Austin trip? And I was like, well, I got a crazy idea. Let's try putting a pin in that, and we'll record it on a Zoom call, and that way we can kind of share it with some of the other people in the Onnit community. So here we are a few days later.
Yep.
hmm So I guess first of all, I just got to tell you, I love you, and
I
I'm
love
happy
you
to see
too.
you. You know. Um, Real quick, I guess we'll just rehash kind of, the most dramatic period of our lives real quick. Uh,
Yeah. In 2 minutes.
yeah, quickly
2 seconds should do it.
get through that so we can get to the meat of the
Right.
discussion. So in August of 2019, I became extremely ill. I ended up going to the Mayo Clinic to get treated for Hodgkin's lymphoma, where you pretty much saved my life. You stopped working and came out to work with me directly. You're a physician, and we worked hard together, and we fought through the process, and I started to recover. I came home to Denver, Colorado in March of 2020, conveniently in time for COVID. And I
Exactly.
I was going through chemotherapy at the time to treat my cancer, and my roommate Adam Browse recommended, like, hey, did you hear Onnit is doing a fitness challenge, 6 weeks? Like, let's get you back to your normal self, and your story is amazing. Like, let's win this thing. We participated, we recorded the process, and we submitted the story, and we won, which obviously is just a massive, it's still kind of hard to believe, but we won. I won the $6,000 prize, which I begrudgingly gave to you. It's like, I guess I gotta pay her. So, and it's just been just an amazing experience since. So
Yeah.
it was in spring of 2020, and since then I've had interactions with Onnit, and they emailed me earlier this year saying, we're doing a massive summit with the champions of the Onnit 6 program, can you come? So that was just this last weekend, in early August 2022. We had our first Onnit 6 summit, and I ended up bringing Adam, my partner in the Onnit 6 challenge, and that was an amazing experience. And it was so cool for us to nerd out at the headquarters and meet these people in the flesh that we've had so much respect for in the Onnit community, and also meet the other champions. So
How many people
that's
were there?
that's the broad strokes. Let's see. I think there was like maybe 10 or 12 champions, and everyone had a +1 or a guest option.
Mhm.
So double that for the amount of participants. And then we had John Wolf and Shane from the Onnit programs. They were there pretty much the whole time. And then some of the support staff, Angie, who was actually the other champion from the year I won, she works for Onnit now. And so she was there, she
Uh-huh.
was helping, and it was great to meet her, Sarah and Maggie and Sean, and just so many people in the Onnit staff that now I feel are friends of mine. So it felt like about 30 people at most of the
Mhm.
gatherings. Yeah.
Well, now let's see here. I want all the juicy details you wouldn't tell me until this conversation. So, um, yeah, what were you expecting when you went?
Truthfully, I wasn't expecting much. I was excited, and I knew that it was going to be a really awesome experience. I mean, Onnit reaching out and saying, like, let's get you out here. We'll put you up. We're gonna show you around. Um, I was happy for it, but I was also a little bit, maybe a little bit jaded or something like that, where I was like, oh,
Hmm.
they're gonna do a bunch of photos for Instagram and then kind of like leave us to our own devices. And it was like just
Mhm.
absolutely the opposite.
Oh,
It was
good.
like, for the rest of from the moment I got to Onnit, they were just so friendly, so interested in hearing more about you. The conversations
Uh-huh.
were fantastic, and we had a ton of different I'm looking at the schedule right now. We had so many different activities planned and just a few, like basically 48 hours of experience together. But everybody was there at the same time. So we got all these open-ended conversations with other champions and with these practitioners that they were bringing in to do seminars and classes with us. And obviously the Onnit staff, some of the coaches, some of the influencers that work with Onnit. It was just such a magical experience
Oh, that's
overall.
so cool. Can you tell me some of the things that were on the schedule? Just give me an idea.
So, yeah, I'm looking at the PDF right here, so I figure that'd be a good reference point. I'll try to brush over it because obviously I don't
Yeah.
want to be too verbose on this whole thing. But we got in Friday afternoon and had a meet and greet where
Mhm.
immediately they were just kind of like throwing us gift bags, and they were like, "Oh, come over here. We're gonna do a video interview in Aubrey Marcus, the founder of Onnit's office, which is kind of like a legendary place in the Onnit community because he hosts all of his podcasts mostly in that room. So to go in there and to
Oh, that's
see
cool.
all of his little artifacts, and he's got a
Mhm.
lot of like Native American and Peruvian artwork and samurai swords. It was just really, really cool to see that. And then we had a few, like, did some photo shoots where we could, like, we were doing kettlebell swings or like mace stuff, and that was really cool. And it just immediately started like bouncing with all the different people who were there, and it just seemed like there was an energy to the group. And then I'd say the hardest part of the entire weekend was the first activity, which was a sound healing that we had, which is effectively like a restorative yoga where you lie down, you get comfortable, and then they guide you through kind of like a relaxing meditation with gongs and singing bowls, and it's a wonderful experience.
Hmm.
But it was tough because we were all so excited.
Yeah, right.
First
Yeah.
thing is like, okay, now that we got everybody here, you've been
All
preparing
wrapped up.
for months. Let's all lay down very quietly for an hour straight.
Yeah.
So I found that to be the most challenging of the weekend. But
Down.
um,
Calm down.
right. So the next morning we had a 5:45 call
Okay.
time in downtown Austin, which was about 10-15 minutes from the hotel we were staying at, because
Wow.
they had uh, a sunrise workout and
Neat.
mobility session scheduled for us. So we Adam got in late that night. So Adam and I got downtown to this park that there was a pavilion up on a hill that overlooked all of downtown Austin, and they had it all set up for us. And we did a bunch of warm-ups and durability and mobility work, and then went into this steel mace workout with one of the Onnit coaches named Serena, who's just awesome. And it was just so
Steel
cool.
mace.
Yeah. I figured you may not know. I don't own one. I'm hoping to get one. It's basically a kettlebell,
Mhm.
like the ball weight, but it's on a
Mhm.
long
Like
cylinder.
a mace. Mhm.
Exactly. But so a lot of Onnit stuff kind of comes from like old warrior techniques and
Mhm.
exercises. So kind of dispersed weight, functional movement,
Mhm.
full body movements is kind of one of the things that they focus on a lot. And I had yet to really have an official workout with these steel
Hmm.
maces. Not the easiest thing to find at a gym or to get
Yeah.
online. So it was cool. It was like we were holding one, and then you would like switch it over in your hands and like lean over, and
Yeah,
like a lot
that's
of
different. That's really
it was
different.
cool. It was really cool. Plus we were all doing it together, and the sun was rising up over Austin's city limits. Is that actually Austin skyline? I think I'm
I've
naturally
never been there.
city limits. Um, anyway, so we finished that, and then had breakfast, had a little bit of free time. We rode those little Lime electric scooters around Austin for a bit just to explore, and got back to the Onnit headquarters in time for this mindset seminar with a gentleman named Mark England, and his company is, I believe, Enlifted. And that was just this amazing experience. It was a lot of journaling exercises, but reframing your phrasing and
Huh.
how you say things. And I
Uh-huh.
remember, we won't go into
To
too much
say
detail,
things to yourself.
essentially, but I mean, it's
Yeah.
like you say things to others, and then you
Yeah.
also say so. I remember him saying, like, let's focus on the statement, like, if we could just have a nice dinner, and all the different
Yeah.
motion in
Uh-huh.
there, like, that just like, what is like the power of that word, and like that leads yourself and the other to believe that we've never had a nice dinner if we could just do
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
we started going down this thought process of really
Yeah.
dissecting the words, what they're kind of subliminally telling ourselves as well as
Mhm.
us. And then we started to reframe them and started to
Mm.
like work on these affirmations. It was a beautiful experience, and it was actually one of the most heartfelt times of the
Huh.
entire process. Some of the other champions were going through some pretty interesting processes. And I thought it was just magical because, I love journaling and that type of work. So I was really interested, and I've got my stuff that I really want to kind of edit and work on and build into some affirmation practice.
I was
Uh,
gonna ask you, some specifics of any of what you thought, but we can get to that if you want to wait, but about what you might, give me an example of something you will probably change about the way you do things, going forward because of this experience?
well, about the affirmations or
About
about
anything. I was just gonna ask you in general, but
well,
if you can.
let's shove that up to the end, because I'll kind of gloss through what the
Okay.
weekend looked like, and then we can chat about a couple of those.
Mhm.
But so we had a light lunch after that. Then we just got this open-ended Q&A with John and Shane, who are the two heads of the fitness programs at Onnit,
Mhm.
and they're the ones that we were following their videos. So they were kind of like these mythic figures that these,
But they're real.
but they're real. Turns out they're not computer generated entities.
That would have been really
Uh,
disappointing.
but the Q&A was amazing. It was just talking about alignment, and it was just whatever kind of came
Alignment
up.
in your body.
Yeah, and there were so many different topics that came up during that, but it was just so cool to have like this like open channel to such deep knowledge when it comes to
Hmm.
physical and mental performance, for that matter, because at Onnit it's all about total human optimization. So it really does encompass a lot of not just perfect form and engagement.
Mhm.
Let's see what else after that. Oh, and then came like the kind of the party of the whole thing, which was a second workout on the day with a coach named Chris, and that was also a steel mace inspired workout. But this time, what I thought was so cool about Onnit is that they invited not only us as the participants, but also other coaches, other staff that work at Onnit, and
Mhm.
the influencers that work with Onnit to all come to this big workout. So it was like this huge, it was at on the main Onnit space, and it was like this packed room with everybody working out. And it was so cool because there was people like Eric Leha and Juan Leha, who have been in a lot of the videos for Onnit, and have
Mhm.
Eric, the Primal Soldier, has been one of my biggest influences,
Mhm.
like the types of kettlebell workouts that I do. So it was amazing to meet him. Justin Wren, who is you don't know, he's a former UFC fighter who
Hmm.
has now dedicated his life to helping the pygmies in the Congo,
Oh,
and an
cool.
unbelievable guy. And Adam is a huge fan, and we went right up to him and ended up just having this long conversation with him. He was just so genuinely nice,
Yeah.
um, and that was just really special. Um, then they had a cold plunge for us in the
Oh,
back,
you love
which
that.
I do,
You do
and
love that.
I know most of the other champions were really nervous about it, um,
Uh-huh.
which I don't blame them at all. I found out later from the staff that it was like 102 in Austin.
Oh
It
my
was
God.
brutally hot, and these
And probably pretty humid.
staff members had the challenge of making an ice tub in the back parking lot of the Onnit facility. And I can't remember what one of the, I think Maggie or Sarah told me that like they had like some 1,000 pounds of ice, something absurd, and yet it's just they just couldn't
Just
quite
kept.
get it down because it's so freaking hot. Plus you've got like 20-30 people who
Yeah.
have just worked out, all
Yeah.
getting into these tubs that are all like hot beings already. So but that was like a very big like team building. There was a lot of fun
Cool.
in the pools, and
You just dump bags of ice on your heads.
anything. They had these little rubber duckies that had a thermostat in them, so you could see kind of
Oh,
what
that's
temperature
cool.
you're working at. um Overall, it was just so much fun. So by then it was like late afternoon on Saturday, and we went back to the hotel, kind of had like an hour or so to regroup, refresh, and then there was an amazing restaurant that's connected to the hotel that I guess Onnit loves to work with, and we had a back room dinner there on the last, or I guess already the last night, because this whole thing, it felt like
Yeah.
a week, but it was only like 48 hours essentially.
Wow.
Um,
Mhm.
we had this dinner where they opened up the floor for staff members and champions and guests of champions to come up and just share a little bit. And it was like
Hmm.
really powerful. It was, I think one of the biggest takeaways was how quickly strangers can become friends.
Mhm.
Right. And I think we forget a lot about that, especially during COVID. We get a lot of
Mhm.
stranger danger, and there's
Yeah.
no, we don't know these people. It just felt so organic. Almost the entire time, between other people who had gone through the fitness challenges, to these seemingly unapproachable influencers, coaches,
Yeah.
staff. It just felt like I already missed these people and I just got to know them, and for real. So that was just so awesome. And that dinner really kind of locked that in
Mhm.
a lot. There was a lot of good sharing going on there. So yeah, it's wild. It's like already almost almost over. So the next morning, what did we do the next morning? Oh, the next morning we went to Black Swan Yoga, which I believe they used to be an Onnit company, but now recently they separated, and but they still do a lot of classes with Onnit. And Patsy, who taught one of the yoga classes videos for the Onnit 6 challenge, taught all of us a yoga class, and that was a lot of fun too. It was a sweaty one. It was like so hot and humid. It was like everybody just immediately started like slipping on their mats and needed towels. It's kind of gross, except it felt.
Perfect.
um so yeah, so then we got back to the Onnit headquarters, had a lunch, and then had another Q&A, but this time it was with the supplement team, the chemists and the producers of the
Uh,
products that Onnit makes, which was also like super fascinating, because we were
yeah.
talking about um, the differences in the alpha brain products and
Yeah.
the and the functional mushrooms that they use, bioavailability, talked a little bit about probiotics versus like prebiotics, and just really cool to understand what these guys
Mhm.
are considering when creating these products. Because
Mhm.
one thing that I didn't quite really understand until I went on it is that the interesting thing about On is that they're so focused on generating a genuine connected community, that like
Yeah.
it's the only supplement, quote, supplement company. They do more than that, but like they're the only people who, like, people wear their shirts, right? They have like a lore surrounding the lifestyle that a
And
lot of companies
loyalty. A
kind of,
loyalty to the
and On it just through and through felt so genuine.
Mhm.
Like they really do care. It's like they're taking these products, they want other people to take their products, they want to share
Uh-huh.
good news, they want to connect people, and really just kind of raise the vibration of the people around them. Um, and then the last thing we did was a breath work workshop
Oh,
with
you're into that too.
Brandon. Um, and I know I got to know Brandon a little bit because I approached him before the show, or before the seminar, because he was doing music stuff, because he does live music sort of energy with the breath work. And so I went
Uh-huh.
up and started asking, nerding out on music stuff with him. And I found out that he trained under Wim Hof, like,
Oh
directly,
my goodness.
and
Wow.
he's out there. And I guess ever since COVID, the the demand for his seminars has just been skyrocketing, because
Wow.
people are understanding, breath work is
Uh-huh.
such a huge practice, and it's
Is.
free, right? Like you can do it whenever you want.
Mhm.
So especially when people were considering respiratory illnesses and and ventilators and all these things that came up during COVID, I think a lot of people were turned on
Mhm.
to breath work.
Just
And
think
that was amazing, because when you get into the deep breath work, like, real emotional shifts come up. I mean, it's
mm,
like a psychedelic experience. It can really churn up a lot of stuff for you. And unfortunately, that was like the last thing we did. And so we kind of ran out of time to really
uh,
hug it out, because
yeah,
then
yeah.
immediately get to Ubers, get get their bags and get to the airport because people
Yeah.
have flights in the afternoon. So it was kind of like a short and sweet goodbye, but just so powerful. And I mean, for better or for worse, my flight was until like 8. So then I just found myself sitting around hanging out at Onnit a little bit longer. I could,
What a shame.
yeah, I know, right? Did a little bit of work and kind of kept
Yeah.
chatting with some of the staff, and everybody was vibrating. Everybody was just so happy with how
That's
things
great.
went, and like kind of laughing at, the little hiccups and celebrating the successes and stuff. So yeah, that's the gist of this
Yeah,
first
yeah.
6 summit weekend. Um,
Uh-huh.
yeah, it was freaking sweet.
It sounds wonderful. Yeah, you kind of got into a little bit about the community, but it sounds like that's one thing that really makes On It different is their emphasis on community. And I know that's so important to you.
Yeah, I think it's important to everyone, and I think that we really
Maybe
realize
they just don't realize it. I think
how
you
much
understand
we
that.
missed it until
Mhm,
we were all kind of separated from each other.
mhm.
So and what is beautiful about the Onnit 6 is that it really took off with COVID, right? Because people wanted to work out, people wanted something to do, people needed money. There was a ton of reasons why people would join the Onnit 6 challenge, and they were telling me that their Facebook group just skyrocketed
Wow,
in not only in participants and members, but also in engagement and actual people connecting, which
that's
is,
cool.
so, those are two very big differences,
Oh,
having
yeah,
20,000 followers and actually getting real engagement and
yeah.
discussion and people who are
Mhm.
connecting through this. Um, so I personally am, I try to tread lightly when it comes to social media, especially with
Oh,
Facebook.
yeah.
So it was kind of like I didn't really know what was going on the Facebook tribe. I didn't know
Mhm.
how much it had grown and how much it was impacting people's lives until the On It 6 summit, because most of these other people had really relied heavily on the tribe throughout their experience. And so that really
Mhm.
that really kind of changed my perspective a little bit on the power of social media for
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 good.
for good, right? Because I
Yeah,
think we get so hyper focused on the negatives of social media.
right.
So and that's kind of the inspiration for why I wanted to record this
Yeah. Mhm.
conversation, because I felt twinges of guilt that I hadn't really given to the tribe as somebody
Uh,
who's won it before. It was hugely impactful for me, and I love seeing these other people get great results or change their lives, and hearing these people's stories. And I was like, okay, like how can I contribute? And having
mhm.
done the podcast for a few years, I was like, this is such a great and more natural avenue. So this is kind of like a beta test on if this is something that people like. So we'll throw it up on the On It tribe and see how it settles.
And plus,
Um,
this is, I get the deets.
you get the deets, and I appreciate you being patient, because because you were immediately like, give
Tell
me.
me, speak
Yeah,
to me.
exactly. Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, I feel like I don't want to go too long for the sake of this video, but is there anything
mhm.
else that you wanted to ask me?
Uh, no, I think we hit pretty much everything I wanted to. I wanted to know kind of what went on, what it's like, what makes it different. Why is it so special to you? And I think we've talked about most of those things. Anything, I guess one thing, anything that surprised you. I wanted to ask you, compared to your expectations. You've kind of alluded to that already, but
Well, mainly it was just the authenticity
yeah, that's fantastic. What a
personnel
happy surprise.
throughout, right? All the members, people who showed up, the guests,
So important.
the staff, the coaches, like it was just like through and through, it just felt right. Because that's one thing that I was nervous about, is that it would all be kind of like phony, but it was all for the gram, basically, right?
Phony intimacy. And
Right.
you've been
It
in
was
a lot
all
of
for exposure. It was all for promotion,
worlds.
and that just wasn't the case.
Yeah.
I had multiple conversations with John Wolf, or with Sean, I believe he's their creative director or something. And they just were just hanging out. We were just talking
Okay.
about whatever. There was no hidden agendas. There was nothing else. It was just like, we love having you guys here. And I realized that it was a big celebration for the staff too.
Oh, I'm sure
They
it
worked so
was.
hard, and I think a lot of us can resonate, where you just feel like you're just entering data and you're just on your screen.
Yeah.
You close your screen, you're tired, you worked all day, but you don't you're like, what did I actually do? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then every now and then these things come to fruition where you actually get to
Oh my
see
gosh, yeah.
and I think it was really cool that Onnit focused on including the staff a lot too, because
Yeah, that's
they
so
honestly
cool.
they worked so hard on the project, and to, for them to work so hard and then be like, okay, well, you guys still work, we're gonna
Right, and that's how
no, they
it's
were all
like in
part
so
of
many
it.
situations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that was really, really cool.
Oh, that's really neat, really special.
So I'm hoping, I guess in closing, I can't wait for it to happen again and to see where this whole Onnit community goes, because I feel like it's powerful and that people really need it right now. And
Oh, yeah.
I guess you know, you'll probably have to compete in the steel mace challenge in the fall.
Did you say me?
Oh yeah.
I'm ordering one from Amazon right now as we
You're
speak.
gonna get you swole, right? Order it from Onnit, mom. Come on. Ruin the whole thing. So typical. All right, mom. I love you. I'm going to
Love you too.
wrap it up here. Thanks so much for doing this.